Sedgar of the Coyotes Men. Pleased to meet you. I can think of no better way to atone for my past than to remain steadfastly by your side.
Sedgar, another one of the Coyotes Men gang, joins as our newest Grand Hero Battle unit. He's not a red mage, and hopefully we keep it that way for a while. Instead, Sedgar will be a green Bow Cavalier and is in fact our first Heroic Grail Green Archer. He does have some free-to-play friendly competition, but if you have the Grails, then you can guarantee all the merges for Sedgar. For stats, he's sporting a healthy 41 HP, 36 attack, 39 speed, 27 defense, and 24 resistance. Very solid stat spread for a Bow Cav, and you'll see later on when we do some comparisons, he easily has some of the best offensive stats for this class type. Sedgar is also lucky to have 3 super boons in speed, defense, and res. A bit interesting considering our new ascended assets, but the extra speed is probably the most intriguing option. For his weapon, Sedgar brings us the Instant Bow Plus. Like our other Coyotes Men inheritable weapons, Instant Bow is actually the same weapon as Valentine's Phase Budding Bow Plus. That has 12 might, and if you initiates combat, grants +4 attack and defense during combat, and foe cannot make a follow-up attack. This is a very interesting weapon. Essentially, its Instant Bow is a mini sturdy impact weapon. You lose out on some attack and defense, but you get the important follow prevention effect. This is a very nice effect for someone like Sedgar because Cavaliers cannot use sturdy impact, so this is going to be a way to get access to follow prevention. Now, with his decent offensive stats, you don't exactly need follow prevention if Sedgar just KOs his opponent. However, Instant Bow will be more about having that extra insurance in cases where Sedgar cannot finish the kill in one round. This is more important for things like PvP defense teams where surviving may be more important, so the rest of your team can follow up, like dancers or just having Sedgar live another turn. Since ranged Cavaliers do not have a no follow-up skill, it's also a nice way to not get KO'd immediately by a quicker post tank who can prevent follow-ups themselves. While the Fire Sweep Bow may be a more annoying general weapon, it's still not easy to get. For those that like running Cav lines in 8th raids, the Instant Bow Plus could find some value on some other Bow Cavaliers as well. Now back to Sedgar's base kit, he comes with Blazing Wind as a special, one of the best AoE specials for its compacted blast zone. It's not exactly a must use on Sedgar. For his B skill, Sedgar is going to have Chill Defense, which is a staple Heroic Grail unit skill. Chills are okay for their consistent debuffing, but the B slot is just so valuable to take up. Last but not least, Sedgar brings us Attack and Defense Catch 3 with him. Now this is pretty huge. Catch skills have been extremely hot skill options for Cavaliers and Flyers, and now we have a way to get the tier 3 version if you wanted to inherit the tier 4 version for someone else later. You can get Attack and Defense Catch 4 from legendary Sigurd and Zeke. From Sigurd you could get the tier 4 version with Fatal Smoke 3, which is pretty nice. From Zeke you could get the tier 3 or the tier 4 with either low attack and defense, or you can grab defense from his Menace and not have to use Elfric for the dual threats in prereq. If you do not plan on using Sedgar, he is extremely valuable fodder. Instant Bow Attack and Defense Catch 3 is a very solid base kit. Now, let's review what the tier 3 catch skills do because we mainly focus on the big tier 4 effect. For Attack and Defense Catch 3 at the start of combat, if foe's HP is 100% or if penalty is active on foe, grants Attack and Defense +5 during combat. Obviously, you only get +5 instead of +7 attack and defense, but more importantly, the part where you can get an extra +2 for meeting both conditions does not exist on this tier. Despite the lower stat boost, Catch 3 skills are still decent A skills, no positioning requirements, and generally you meet a lot of full HP foes. If they're not at full HP, you can still debuff them. Now, if you plan to stay near the team though, Attack and Defense form may be a better option and can be gotten from Grim Zealot. If you want to merge Sedgar for the Neutral Nature, he will get +1 HP, attack, and speed. Very solid if you don't want to use trait fruits, but he also has those 3 super boons in speed, defense, and res. In case you were confused about Ascended Assets and Neutral Natures, I want to try and go over it again. Let's say you give Sedgar a +1 merge with the Neutral Nature bonus. If you try to give him an Ascended Asset, and you pick either HP, attack, or speed, the +1 from the Neutral Nature will be moved to another stat. It will go to the next available stat, which would have been increased, which is defense for Sedgar, and then you get the +3 attack for the Ascended Asset. So they did this to prevent you from sneaking in an extra stat point because of how the Neutral Nature works. It's not a big deal, but understand why one stat point may swap around if you use a Floret on a merged Neutral Nature unit. In terms of Green Bow Cavalier Comparisons, Sedgar does very well for himself. He is several BST generations above everyone else and has the best offensive space stats. Even with Dragonflyers involved, Sedgar is still in a solid position to run a multitude of builds. He's got the damage for the usual player phase sweeping, and he has enough defense and res to not die in a single hit. Now, while Sedgar is our first Heroic Grail option for Green Bows and Green Bow Cavaliers, we already have two low rarity summonable options in Python and Wrath. I've seen a good amount of merge Pythons around, so Sedgar may make less of an impact for some players. However, if you prefer to use Heroic Grails, he's a great option if you haven't built Python or Wrath. I would have loved to see Sedgar be a red bow because we have 0 red bows that are easy to get. Him being our third Green Bow Cav available for free to play is kinda unfortunate. However, I won't hold it against him considering we just got 3 red mage Grand Hero battles in a row. Now, if you thought Sedgar's stats looked familiar, then that's because they are. Exact same HP, attack, speed, and defense as Summer Leone, who we just got earlier this year. Sedgar puts his +5 extra BST into resistance, but Leone is a colorless bow cav, so she's definitely still unique. She does get an extra amount of Dragonflyers, but I would say they're both solid Heroic Grail Cavaliers, and it just comes down to your color preference. We actually do not have any red or blue bow Cavaliers, so colorless is the only other comparisons. Harmonic Leaf is the clear winner here, but obviously he's a seasonal unit. As with Summer Leone, Sedgar's stats are extremely nice, even going up against the 5-star only options. In terms of build options, you can copy any of the builds we discussed for Summer Leone. Sedgar is just a green version of her with extra resistance. If you don't want to go too hard on skills, Sedgar has a decent base kit in Instant Bow and Attack and Defense Catch 3. He'll get +9 attack and defense when initiating, so a little extra speed from something like Sir Sparrow or raw speed and defense would be nice. You can keep Blazing Wind if you want, but you could also go with Moonbow, Luna, or Bonfire. Chill defense is okay as well to handle tankier foes, but Sedgar can also run guard to fully protect against special charging foes. If you prefer to do more damage, then Sedgar can run the usual desperation builds with Fury and Brazen Attacking Speed. Other sacred seals could include Sturdy Blow 2 or Steady Blow 2, keep on stacking more defense. Solo skills are also great for dual phase power, and speaking of which, you may want to run a smoke debuff like Attack Smoke, initiate on the enemy, apply attack debuffs, and that will guarantee attack and defense catch stays active, although it's not 100% necessary. If you decide to upgrade to attack and defense catch 4, then it may matter more since you would get the extra +2 attack and defense on top. If you keep Instant Bow for premium builds, then it is more of a survivability tool than pure offense. With attack and defense catch 4, you can get those juicy stats without worrying about positioning, and a low B skill would also add on more combative power. Finding a sacred seal that boosts stats while with the team or while initiating is a bit tough. I would assume a solo skill or a solo seal would be better to have when you're initiating and just buff Sedgar in other ways when he's near the team. If you got dancers, then defense or attack smoke would be great for a second round of combat. Now, if you prefer to go for a more traditional offensive role, then Sedgar probably wants a different weapon. Luckily, we have a good amount of free-to-play options. You got the Brave Bow, Slang Bow, or Bouquet Bow from Bridal Louise for +4 attack and speed. Candle Wax from Halloween Rolf is a Fury 3 bow. Core Bow from Summer Joshua and Helm Bow from Pirate Bridget are in the Divine Code shop and offer nice speed and defense debuffing. If you want some rarer options, there is the Pelagian Bow if you got debuffs. Fishy Bow has Desperation built in. Then we have the Almighty Fire Sweep Bow if you can get it. That may be a bit risky considering we just got a new Far Safe army unit who has built-in LC Disrupt though. Now, if you prefer a more defensive setup, Sedgar could run a lot of fun things. Spendthrift is just downright annoying for mixed phase usage, and Instant Bow is technically more about survivability. Winter Felix has the Reindeer Bow if you really want a more team play defensive weapon with guard built in. I would say bow cavs want to abuse their long range, so more offensive weapons fit better. However, you do you, and Sedgar can even run things like Close Counter if you really want. The only standout skill for Bow Cavaliers in recent times to look out for is Far Trace. We only have attack and defense Far Trace for physical damage units, and it's on one seasonal unit, so good luck getting it. In the future though, definitely a solid option to look out for. It could be quite good with instant bow survivability to hit and run, although you're not going to be able to use Kanto if you're moving 3 spaces to attack. It's still a good perk to have though. So should you promote Sedgar to 5 stars? Well, he's got the exact same stats as Summer Leone, just with extra res thanks to Gen 6 BST. 36 attack, 39 speed is about as good as it gets for free Bow Cavaliers, and even that outdoes a lot of the 5-star units. In terms of tankiness, Sedgar has 41 HP and mid-20s defense and res, so he can definitely take some hits. In terms of skills, Sedgar may be really hard to merge because he has some really great fodder on hand. Instant Bow Plus gives access to the budding bow, and like we mentioned, it is a mini sturdy impact weapon. This can give bow cavaliers access to fog prevention, and you'll probably see it on some former cav lines in Aether raids. On the other hand, Sedgar has attack and defense catch 3, which is really cool. It's not as absurd as the tier 4 version, but you could use it as a budget ace skill option. Most players would probably prefer to save it though if you want to fodder attack and defense catch 4 from another unit. That way you can grab another rare and powerful skill. Overall, Sedgar is a very nice Heroic Grail unit. He's the very first Heroic Grail Green Archer, and the only downside is that we have 2 low rarity summable options in Python and Wrath, and they're both Bow Cavaliers as well. If Sedgar was a red or blue Bow Cav, then he would make a bit more impact, but he's still fantastic, and it's a solid option for those that didn't build Python or Wrath. He's also a current gen Bow Cavalier, which may be valuable since we just kicked off Gen 6. Not a lot of complaints about Sedgar. He's definitely worth using if you like him. That will be everything I have to say about our last Coyotes Men member in this update. Let me know your thoughts on Sedgar or share your own builds with everyone in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.